Hi everyone, today I am going to tell you a short story from uh, Vana Parva of Mahabharata. This story was told by Rishi Vyasadeva to King Dhritarastra. And this one is a brilliant example of love and affection of a mother towards her children. And the name of the story is Lord Indra and the celestial cow Surabhi. So let me begin the story. Now, when the Pandavas were exiled, that time Vidura continuously requested King Dhritarastra to bring them back to Hastinapur because justice was not done for them. So, hearing his praise for the Pandavas continuously, King Dhritarashtra got angry and then he asked him whether he would stay with them or he could go to Pandavas. That is why Vidura went away went to the forest to live with Pandavas. And after a few days, Dhritarashtra felt the absence of Vidura because he loved him very much. So he immediately asked his minister Sanjay to bring him back to Hastinapur. Thus Sanjay went to Vidura and requested him and told him how King Dhritarashtra was feeling the absence of him and requested him to come back to Hastinapur again. Thus Vidura came back, but hearing the returning of Vidura, Duryodhana was in great grief. He didn't want that Vidura should come back again. He was afraid of that if Vidura continuously induced his father Dhritarashtra, then maybe Pandava would come back. Maybe his father would ask them to come back. That is why he was extremely sorry for returning of Vidura. Now, he called all his friends like Sakuni, Dusasan and Karna, and he told everything to them. His heart filled with sorrow only because of the returning of Vidura, and maybe Pandavas would come back again. Then he said, if by any chance Pandavas would come back, then he would either take poison or he would hang himself, means he will commit suicide. He will not live anymore if the Pandavas will come. Hearing his words, all his friends just suggested, like Sakuni said, King, oh Duryodhana, what for you are feeling sorry that Vidura had come and Pandavas will come? They are the follower of truth and they had taken the pledge. So without fulfilling the 13th year, they will never come back. They always obey the truth to their vow. So don't worry for that. Even Dusasan became very happy hearing the words of Sakuni. And Karna also told him that Pandavas are follower of dharma and they obey the truth, so they will keep their promise, not to worry. And again Karna, when Duryodhana, after listening their words, he just turned his face because he was not satisfied with this much of answer. Then Karna told him, don't worry, when they are friendless, they are in destitute condition, they are away from Hastinapur, then let us go and do something. Let us kill them so that you will be without any enemy. Duryodhana appreciated that thing very much. Then they all they just did a plan and they decided to kill all the Pandavas. Now, Vyasadeva, he had the spiritual vision and he could come to know by yogic power, by his spiritual vision, that Duryodhana was planning this thing. So immediately he came to Duryodhana and commanded him to desist. He didn't like this type of heinious act. Then he went to Dhritarashtra and said, O son, O Dhritarashtra, you are a noble king, you are wise, and I love all my children like you, Vidura, and Pandu equally. So why your son determined to kill the Pandavas? What they had done? And you know very well the Pandavas had gone to the forest deceitfully defeated by Duryodhana and his friends. So do not act any more heinous act. And you desist them, you control your wicked-minded son Duryodhana. Then again Vyasadeva told King Dhritarastra that, oh Dhritarastra, you have 101 children. Pandu has only 5 children. I am not pleased at all seeing the miserable condition of Pandavas. They are living in the forest with misery. They are in plight. So I don't like this thing, and because of your son's act only they are suffering now. Give them their parental properties and call them back. When he said this, immediately King Dhritarashtra said, O noble Rishi, O illustrious Rishi, you know very well that I do not like this gambling, and hundreds and thousands of times I was advised by Pitamaha Bhisma, Dronacharya and Kripacharya, and also by Gandhari not to do this heinious act, means not to play dice nor to send the Pandavas to the forest. But oh father, what I can do? Influenced by paternal affection, I cannot cast off my senseless son Duryodhana. I don't like either, but I couldn't do anything. And Duryodhana is not listening to me. So, father, at least you say something to Duryodhana. He is my son, so I am unable to cast off my wicked-minded Duryodhana. Then immediately Vyasadeva said, O son, what you say is absolutely true. A son is considered as superior to any other possessions. And relating to this, I will tell you a beautiful story. Listen to me very carefully. Thus Vyasadeva began. One day, Surabhi, the celestial cow, was weeping. She was weeping on the celestial region. That time, Sakra, means Lord Indra, saw Surabhi and he felt compassion for Surabhi and asked, O divine lady, what for you are weeping? Is everything all right? Or has any misfortune befallen earth on the earth on man or human or any animals or any serpents? What happened? What for you are weeping? Then Surabhi said, O Lord, I am weeping because my son is tortured. Look at that farmer who is beating my son mercilessly with a wooden stick. And not only that, he is also oppressing him with his plough. And my poor son, he is falling down on the ground, and even at the point of death. He is a weak one, Lord, and his body is only a mass of veins and arteries. He is so lean and thin, he couldn't bear the burden, and because of that, this farmer is oppressing him, and the stronger one, somehow he is carrying his burden. So, oh Lord, looking at his miserable condition, I am crying. Then Lord Indra said, Ki, oh Surabhi, you have thousands of children and they are oppressed. What for you are crying just for one child who is under infliction? Then Surabhi said, Ki, oh Lord, what you say, I agree. I have thousands of children and thousands of children are also oppressed, but the one I am weeping for that child, I am feeling compassion for that child who is weak and lean and thin. And that is why I showed greater affection towards my son. Now Lord Indra understood that yes, son is superior to everything, even superior, even more than one's life. Then he poured a heavy shower so that the farmer's work was stopped. Now Vyasadeva said, O Dhritarastra, I told you this story just to show you. A mother loves all her children, but when she sees a weak child, she showers her love, her compassion to that child more than anybody else. Because that was a weak child. That is why her love and affection goes more to that particular weak child. And similarly, O Dhritarashtra, all of you are my children. You are, Pandu is my son. As you know, as Pandu is my son to me, so also you and Vidura. So my love and affection for both these Kauravas and Pandavas is equal. And I do not like that the Pandavas should suffer. That is why I told you this story. And consider about the welfare of Pandavas so that all the Kauravas will be in good condition and prosperity and the Kuru race will survive. Otherwise, after 13th year, when Pandavas will come back, their heart will be filled with the feeling of taking vengeance, means revenge. So that time, with considering or recollecting all the woes, they will just shower the deadly weapons on Kauravas. Do you think that it is good for your race? Why you are not controlling your son, evil-minded Duryodhana? So, O Dhritarashtra, do something now. If it will be too late, then the consequence is not good at all. Then, again, he said that after my departure, the great Rishi Maitreya, he already met Pandavas, so he wished to come to meet you. He will come here and whatever advice he will give you, accept it. Otherwise, he is a wrathful Rishi and he will curse you. There is no doubt. Thus he spoke and he vanished. And after a few minutes, few minutes later, Maitreya came to the Kuru court, Dhritarashtra's court. Then King Dhritarashtra and all his sons, they paid their respect to Maitreya Rishi and also they gave arghya to him. After taking his seat, Maitreya Rishi said, O Dhritarashtra, you are such a noble king and I love to all of you, all the Kauravas and Pandavas. But what I saw mm, in Kamyaka Aranya, that King Yudhishthir was in a miserable condition, means he was wearing a simple dress, means just the bark of the trees and with a matted uh, lock, and he was surrounded by the rishis. The rishis came to see him because he was so much, uh, he was a follower of dharma and a virtuous king. That is why the rishis came to see him. And I heard about this terrible dice game and the consequence of this. So now I have come to tell you, ki, oh, Dhritarashtra, call them back to Hastinapur and let them enjoy with your children. That is the best thing for both the Kauravas and Pandavas, means the Kuru race. When he said this, once again, Dhritarashtra said, even he also reminded him that when the Pandavas will come, return back after 13th year, they will take revenge, there is no doubt, because they will recollect all the woes they got in past times, and they will shower the deadly weapons on them, on Kauravas. He also said about how Bhimsen killed the Rakshasas Hidimba and Kirmira in Kamyaka and Daityavana, and also saved the rishis. Like this, when he said that related to Vasudev and Dhrishtadyumna as the brother-in-law, do you think anyone is there who could face Arjun? They are powerful and they had strength like thousands of elephants, and they were also followers of dharma. So do not fight with them, no good result will come out of that. When he said this, once again Dhritarashtra said, O Rishi, I cannot do anything, I do not appreciate that Pandavas should live in forest. But my son Duryodhana is not listening anything. If you do me a favor, tell him something. Then Rishi Maitreya very softly looked at Duryodhana, who was sitting there with his friends, and told him, O Duryodhana, you are a mighty king and you have all the noble qualities. Only one thing is that why unnecessarily you are creating, you are quarreling with Pandavas. They are your kins, they are your own cousins. So do not oppress them, and at least let them come to Hastinapur and have their parental property. You know the strength of the Pandavas, and they had also the celestial weapons. So why unnecessarily dispute among you? Call them. When Maitreya Rishi said and praised Pandavas, Duryodhana couldn't tolerate it, and he just slapped his thigh and scratched the ground with his foot. He didn't say anything, he didn't look at Rishi Maitreya, but he just hung down his head. Looking at this behavior, Maitreya Rishi got extremely angry. Then he said, O Duryodhana, out of pride, you ignored my advice. Now take this curse from me. The thigh you slapped now, that same thigh will be smashed by the mace of Bhimsen. And this will happen. Then King Dhritarastra was very much worried and he requested Rishi Maitreya to calm down. Then Rishi Maitreya said, "Oh, king, it can only be relaxed if Duryodhana will keep peace with Pandavas. Otherwise, no way that no way this thing is going to happen. It cannot be, means no way this my word cannot be avoided." Thus, Maitreya Rishi cursed and went away. This much is the story. Once again, I will meet you with another new story, and for the time being, what I want to say that look, Vyasadeva so nicely described the love and affection of a mother through a small story. Thank you so much.